The next area is education. I think we're going to talk a lot about education. Education needs to be reformed. A lot of education is colonized. It comes from a European perspective in most ways. History is taught from a European lens, and when you look at books in schools, the curriculum is mostly white. It is geared towards white Americans, and it's also just geared towards making history comfortable for white Americans, while leaving out really good historical figures who are African American, who have really fought for the freedom of our people. And one thing I do believe, even as a Christian, I believe that in order for us to really see ourselves in the Bible, to see ourselves in education, to see ourselves thriving in community, we need to really look back at our history. Not just the history of us being slaves, but we need to look back at some of the really key figures in our history. I'm thinking W.E.B. Du Bois. You have Nannie Helen Burroughs. You have Nat Turner. You have so many different people that we can look at. And over the years, I've been learning a little bit about my own history, and I found out that my grandfather was a part of the African American Negro League. When I found out, I was upset with my family, because I was like, man, I might have actually kept going with playing baseball. But either way, so yeah, we do need to look back over our history. Next thing is we have finances. We have to talk about finances. We have to talk about what does it look like to actually close the wealth gap in America. We have been, as a community, we have been discriminated against when it comes to education in this area. And so we really do have to go back and undo a lot of learning, undo the consumer mindset. Because if you just look at numbers and things of that nature, when it comes to Black Friday, Black and brown communities are individuals who spend the most money on these days. So we really have to dig in and really think about what does it look like for the Black household to close wealth gaps, to build generational wealth, to set their students up and their children up for success, to be able to send their children off to college and to good schools, and not have debt to go along with it. So yeah, and then the last area is we're going to be talking about mental health, because trauma affects the community in different ways, and we really need to just take a moment and talk about these things, because there are a lot of stigmas still around mental health, and there are a lot of solid Black mental health practitioners who take the time to try to close some of these stigmas, to dismantle some of these lies. So we need to keep doing better. So listen, family, I am super excited about taking this journey with you all and just becoming a part of a community that is geared towards building up urban communities. When I say holistic, I do mean covering ideas of mental, spiritual, physical, and financial. Over the years, I've learned that if one of those four are off, well, then the whole person is off. And I look at that young man who is trying his best to change his life, to take care of his kids, but he can't provide food for or buy diapers. And so he has to go rob or something of that nature. And we look at that individual as just the crime that they commit. What I'm saying is that we have to learn how to look at the whole person. And so when we think about building up our community, that is how we have to see them, as a whole person. Because I do believe that is how God created us, as a whole person. And I do believe that the church needs to do more work in looking at people as whole persons. The law, the government, we have to do better. In the comments, I need you to drop down some topics that you are concerned about in urban inner city communities. You can just write up what it looks like. You can ask me any questions that you want. If I know the answers right up front, I'll send you a message back. But in most cases, what I'll do is I'll take the time to research the answers so that I can provide you with the content that you're looking for. So make sure you like, subscribe to this channel, and also ring the bell so that whenever I have dropped a new video, you can know up front. So listen up, family. We can build up our communities one brick at a time, but we go further together. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. See you all next week.